From winning the Conference League,
Chelsea are the 2025 Conference League winners.
And the Club World Cup.
The FIFA Club World Cup champions.
Chelsea fans were expecting a strong comeback season and for the Blues to reclaim their place among the elite. But 9 months later, they're nothing more than a circus.
Se qualifie, le champion d'Europe sera bien au rendez-vous.
You embarrassment of a football team, man. I can't do this anymore. I can't do this.
7 consecutive games in the league without a single win. 5 straight matches without scoring a single goal. The last time this happened was back in 1912, the same year the Titanic sank.
Coincidence? I think not! Absolutely horrendous, horrendous run of results.
Let's just take you through how bad it is. 5 straight Premier League losses for the first time since 1993. 5 straight losses without scoring since 1912. They've lost 7 or 8 games in all competition, failing to score in 6 of them. That lone winner was, of course, against third-tier Port Vale in the FA Cup. More Premier League losses under Rosenior this season than under Maresca.
Billions spent, young stars everywhere. But what they're showing right now is totally opposite. The football is inconsistent, the identity is gone, and now they might not even qualify for Europe competition.
Can we potentially get a decent game of football? Can we potentially get a decent performance? Can we potentially narrowly win? Can we at least can we stop the rot? No. Absolutely disgraceful.
This team looks like they don't know how to do anything except spend money. Yes, it sounds exactly like some other club from the same city. At the start of the 2025-26 season, Chelsea went into it with everything looking perfect. They had finished the previous season in 4th place in the Premier League, enough to return to the Champions League for the first time in 2 years. In May 2025, they crushed Real Betis 4-1 to win the Conference League, and not long after that, they beat PSG 3-0 in the Club World Cup final, 3-0.
Had the composure to turn. Cole Palmer! For Palmer! Superb! Work needed in that regard. Palmer, Gian Pedro, it's 3, and Chelsea are running away.
Yes, PSG, the team that had just won the Champions League, got beaten by a Conference League winner, the same PSG that would later destroy Chelsea 8-2 in the Champions League. But we'll get to that later. What I'm saying is, Chelsea did not go into this season as underdogs. They went in with trophies in hand, Champions League football on the schedule, and the most expensive squad on the planet. On paper, everything looked beautiful. The problem is, football isn't played on paper. The season started off decently. Chelsea won a lot of matches, and Cole Palmer was still Cole Palmer, the only guy at the club who actually seems to know where the ball should go. But as 2025 came to a close, cracks started to appear in their form. Just 1 win in their last 7 Premier League games. And trust me, if you think the scorelines look bad, what's actually happening behind the scenes is even worse.
Breaking news, Enzo Maresca and Chelsea could part ways in the next hours or days, but the relationship is really deteriorating between the English club and the Italian manager. So keep an eye on this situation, very tense. The draw against Bournemouth, Enzo Maresca didn't do any press conference. The situation was already tense at that time between the manager and the club, and also many problems. In the recent months, starting over the summer transfer window, Maresca wanted a new centre-back. When Levi Colwill suffered an ACL injury, Chelsea decided not to proceed. The club had different ideas. Maresca had his own ideas, so complicated months.
Right on January 1st, 2026, while everyone was still busy eating their New Year's cake and watching fireworks, Chelsea dropped a bomb. Happy New Year! Enzo Maresca had officially been sacked. Unbelievable, right? We're talking about the guy who had just brought them back to the Champions League and led them to glory in the Conference League. Yet he got the sack on the very first day of the year.
When you look to them as if you're looking for an escape possibly elsewhere, or even trying to use it as a bit of a blackmail for a new contract, it's only going to end up one way. Unless that is, your results are so stratospherically good that the board are in a bit of a juxtaposition where they can't be seen to be letting them go, but 2 wins in 9 in their recent form suggests otherwise. And when you're sort of more or less
on the first day of the new year. What a fantastic way to start 2026. Now the question was, who do Chelsea bring in next? This is Stamford Bridge. This is the Champions League. You need a big name, someone with experience, someone who commands respect the moment his name is mentioned in the dressing room. And they bring you Liam Rosenior.
Liam, first of all, welcome to Chelsea. Huge congratulations. How are you feeling sitting here as Chelsea head coach?
Proud, excited, can't wait to start. It's a lot of hard work in my life to get to this point. But as I said to the players this afternoon, getting to this club is one thing, but I need to win at this amazing football club with these players, with the staff, and that's what my focus is on. When I first heard about the fact that Chelsea Football Club were interested in me to be the head coach, it was one of the proudest days of my life. And now I'm sat here, I've met the staff, I've met the players. It's a day that myself and my family will never forget.
A coach who had just been sacked by Hull City, a championship side back in 2024. A guy who had spent just over a year managing Strasbourg, Chelsea's sister club in the BlueCo multi-club empire. Let's be honest here, guys. This was never purely a football decision. This was a corporate, internal decision.
But I don't think it helps when the fans are listening to a manager, and this has been from day one, sort of talk and address the media in the way that he does, with the sort of rhetoric that he uses, and obviously the actions with the notes. And there's been so many sort of, I think there's been a lot of stuff that could easily turn the dressing room, not against him, but almost in a mocking way, when they're listening to what he's saying and when they're watching what he does in the technical area. And I don't know what goes on in the training ground, but when I look at some of the things that he says and does, it just doesn't seem right to me.
Aura. That's the most expensive word when it comes to managing at Stamford Bridge. And Rosenior, and to be fair, it's not really his fault. Simply never had that aura. 258 days. That's the average time each Chelsea manager has lasted under BlueCo before getting replaced. Not a season, not a year. 258 days. Let me put that into perspective for you. That's enough time for you to binge watch the entire Breaking Bad series twice, and boom, Chelsea have already got a new coach. The way they're running things, it doesn't feel like they're managing a historic giant football club. It feels like they're debugging a video game. Test, fail, patch, delete, and start all over again. An endless, unstable loop. Rosenior took over the hot seat in January, and by March, Chelsea stepped into the Champions League round of 16 to face the giant PSG. This was supposed to be the moment that defined the season, but unfortunately, it became a page in history that no Chelsea fan wants to remember. First leg in Paris was a complete nightmare. Chelsea got absolutely destroyed 5-2.
Oh, that's a mistake from Jurgensen. He's giving it away, and a chance for Vitinha now to lob the goalkeeper. Oh no! Alien trying to find a route to goal. Oh, and didn't he do that? He's escaping. Nuno Mendes is at the far post. It's ending towards Maresca. He's got under the goalkeeper, and in it's 5-2.
Yes, twice they dragged the game back to level terms, yet every single time hope started to flicker, PSG hit them with a deadly counter-attack and regained the lead. And the ending was just brutal. In the final minutes, goalkeeper Jorgensen passed the ball straight into the feet of substitute Kvaratskhelia, who then had gifted Chelsea 2 goals in just 10 minutes. Final score 5-2. Chelsea trudged back from Paris to London.
I thought Chelsea for long periods of time today were better than PSG. I do believe that 5-2, and I agree with Jurgen on that, is that 5-2 doesn't really paint a clear picture as to what this game was and how good Chelsea was for long periods of time. Now, where I agree with Craig is that their management of the game late in the match was disorganized at best, but embarrassing to some degree as well.
The second leg at Stamford Bridge on March 17th. Just 6 minutes in, centre-back Mamadou Sarr received a completely normal long ball. Kvaratskhelia walked straight past him and scored. 0-1 after 6 minutes. 8 minutes later, Barcola added the second with a strike from outside the box. 0-2 after just 14 minutes. 8-2 on aggregate. This was the same club that had beaten this very PSG 3-0 just 9 months earlier. No one came out of that tie unscathed. But who got hurt the most? It wasn't the players, it wasn't the manager, it was the big question everyone started asking. What the hell is actually going on inside this football club? After that humiliating 8-2 defeat to PSG, Chelsea still had plenty of Premier League games left, A chance to regain form, regain identity, and remind everyone they actually knew how to play football. Instead, they did this: 0 goals in 5 consecutive matches. This is a team with Cole Palmer, the guy who'd been scoring and assisting all season, with Enzo Fernandez, a World Cup winner, with Joe Pedro, signed for big money from Brighton, with Pedro Neto, one of the fastest wingers in the Premier League, and yet not a single goal in 5 games.
This team's getting worse. I said against City, it was men against boys. Then the following week, it was Manchester United last weekend, and they were awful again. They get beat 1-0 against a depleted Manchester United side. And then today against Brighton away, it was men against boys again.
The final night of that nightmare run was a 3-0 defeat at Brighton on April 21st. Chelsea didn't have a single shot on target the entire match. They didn't make a single tackle in the first 32 minutes. And up in the Amex stands, the Chelsea fans, the ones who paid their own money to travel and support the team, started chanting for their own manager to be sacked.
In the pride that you should have in wearing this shirt, that was unacceptable. I've defended the players. And I am accountable. I've always said that. But after tonight, I think the players as well need to have a look in the mirror for what they put in. And talk about tactics. Tactics come after the basics. Having more courage to play, winning duels, winning headers, tackles, conceding terrible goals. That was an unacceptable performance tonight. Judging off that performance, it looks that way. I won't lie. That was unacceptable. I don't feel there's a disconnect between me and the players. We work very closely with them in training, individual meetings, team meetings, unit meetings. We are giving everything to the players. There is a lack of spirit, lack of belief that can create that perspective that makes it look a certain way. And I can't argue with that at the moment because the run we're on is unacceptable, and that performance definitely was as well. No, I think for the supporters, I understand their frustration, and it's my job as the head coach and the manager of the football club. The buck stops with me. I have thick skin, and I understand why the fans are frustrated. I'm frustrated with the performances.
And the very next day, Chelsea announced the sacking of Rosenior after just 106 days. Quite short, but it still can't be shorter than the time it takes you to drop a like and subscribe to my channel. It would be great if you did that. Now let's talk about something most people in the comments are missing. It's not about which manager got sacked or how many goals they conceded. The real question is, why does this body keep getting sick no matter who the doctor is? Let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture, how the owner's bottomless pockets are tearing this club apart. Todd Bowley and BlueCo took over Chelsea in 2022, and from day one, they started spending money like tomorrow would never come. The total spent on transfers since then has hit the £2 billion mark. £2 billion, guys. You heard that right. With that kind of money, you could buy an entire small country. Or you could buy Chelsea, only to painfully realise that money doesn't automatically turn into a proper system or structure. The problem isn't just the money. The problem is there's no identity. Chelsea have 0 consistent direction. They hoard dozens of young players from all over the world. Send them on loan, recall them. Send them out again, recall them again. The way they operate looks more like a global human resources distribution centre than a football club.
I mean, the owners are getting it really badly wrong there. Let's be really clear. I said at the time, and they've got a group of talented players, they've got young sporting directors in respect of sort of what will be experience relating to Europe. You've got an ownership that's relatively young in respect of ownership that sort of Chelsea Football Club, 2 or 3 years in. These 6-year, 8-year agreements that you see, it's almost laughable from the start, whether it be for a manager or a player. The owners haven't got a clue what they're doing.
A manager needs time. Not a few weeks, not a few months, real time to install a playing style, build trust with the players, and create a culture. In the last 4 years, Chelsea have sacked 5 permanent managers with an average tenure of just 258 days each. Every time they sack someone, everything resets to 0. Players have to learn a new system. Team cohesion gets destroyed. And when the next manager eventually leaves, the whole process repeats itself. Meanwhile, look at Brighton, the team that beat Chelsea 3-0 in Rosenier's final game. At one point this season, Brighton had won just one of their last 13 matches. 1 in 13. Chairman Tony Bloom didn't sack the manager. He stayed patient and kept faith. And Brighton recovered. winning 4 of their next 5 games, pushing for European spots, and then putting 3 more past Chelsea as if to remind everyone of the difference between the two management philosophies. And now we come to the part that even Chelsea's biggest defenders find hard to justify. Enzo Fernandez, the key midfielder, World Cup winner with Argentina, and often the team captain, was internally suspended mid-season. The reason, in an interview while away on international duty, he subtly hinted at being open to leaving. He didn't even say it outright, just an answer that lacked full commitment. Chelsea's response was to suspend him.
Cucurella and Fernandez, experienced players, the only probably 2 experienced players that Chelsea have got, stitching him up in the last few weeks by calling out the fact that they basically love Maresca. Well, they weren't doing that well under him.
The 2 most senior players in the dressing room are openly telling the press that they miss the previous manager, while the current boss is desperately trying to keep the sinking ship afloat. A football team works like a body. When the members aren't pulling in the same direction, when they're not on the same page, all tactics become pointless. Chelsea, in the second half of this season, weren't a team. They were just 20-something individuals wearing the same shirt. Chelsea have reached the final of the FA Cup. They beat Leeds United in the semi-final at Wembley and will face Manchester City in the showpiece. And this match matters more than just a trophy. Because the FA Cup winners, if they haven't secured a European spot through the league, will qualify for the Europa League next season. Chelsea are currently sitting 9th in the table with a big gap to the top 5. The European route via the Premier League is almost gone. The FA Cup is the last lifeboat left. 1 match, 90 minutes, Wembley. Winning the FA Cup won't erase everything that's happened this season, but it can buy them more time. And sometimes in football, time is the only thing you really need. Chelsea at the end of the 2025-26 season is a sad story of the kind football loves to create. Not sad because they lack money. Not sad because they lack talent. But sad because they lack something you simply can't buy: structure, clear direction, and patience. £2 billion spent, 5 managers sacked, 8 different people in the hot seat in 4 years. And now they're already waiting to see who's next. While Callum McFarlane is guiding the final stretch of the season like a captain thrown onto the bridge after the ship has already hit the iceberg. The question isn't who the next manager will be. The real question is, this time, will they actually let him do his job? The history of the last 4 years says no, but football has a way of keeping people hopeful, even Chelsea fans. If you enjoy our video, don't forget to hit like to help this video reach to other football lovers, and hit the subscribe button to follow for more interesting videos about football stories. See you in the next video.